Hello and welcome back to the Punches Chance podcast, and welcome to the preview show where we have a look forward at what is one hell of a weekend of boxing. It's busy, it's packed, there's lots to be excited for. We're not going to be talking about the card in Cardiff on this show because we're going to be at the fight week, so there are lots of great content. Subscribe if you want to see all of that. But I never thought I'd be saying this. Deontay Wilder, Derek Chisora taking part in these aisles, the O2 Arena, promoted by Misfits Pro. Wasserman, as it was known. Yeah, this is it's an interesting fight, right? On paper, it's intriguing.
Yeah.
I'm really looking for it. I really like the fact as well that this is both their 50th fight.
Yeah,
The way that's just fell so nicely for the two of them. But yeah, it's probably not a fight we would have even have dreamt up about 12 months ago, but it just feels like it's fallen quite fittingly for both, and it's one of those. It's definitely the end of the road for someone. I think it's
It's been the end of the road for
Derek Chisora's end of the road has been going for I think he missed his turn off, but he's just kept going. But I think it's definitely the last fight for him on Saturday night. But I think the biggest question is whether this is going to be the last one for Deontay Wilder, and whether this is the end of his story as well.
I think this is the last fight for both men.
Hopefully as well.
I think it really should be. I mean, I'd understand if the loser wants to go and get a, finish on a win. But I think, if you're Deontay Wilder and you've lost as many as you've lost in the last couple of years since Fury, essentially, and you've achieved what you've achieved already, then I think you should be able to retire happy on a loss. And whoever wins on their 50th fight, I mean, who goes and fights again if you win on your 50th?
Do you think there's scope there, though, if Deontay Wilder wins by stoppage specifically, that there's room there then to build the fight again with AJ? I know it's way later than it should have happened before Harry was born, I think, at this point. But
yeah, maybe.
There's
I see
potential
what you mean.
there. If he wins by stoppage, you can try and build that narrative of he's got that mindset back of being a killer.
I think that.
But he's not.
That's the old Deontay Wilder, isn't it? That's pre-Tyson Fury trilogy, isn't it? And that for that trilogy that they had, that has taken both Fury and Wilder. That's taken a lot out of them, and perhaps both of them, in a way, should have called it a day after those fights. It's a weird one because a couple of years back, you would have gone Derek Chisora, Deontay. What are you talking about? No way will that happen. And for it to happen, it's like crazy. And I just hope that, like you said, Sam, it's their last fight.
Yeah, I hope so.
It's all lined up for it to be a good fight. I don't even think it's a close fight. I'll save the predictions for the end.
Do you think?
I think going off recent performances, for some reason, Derek Chisora seems to be like having like a resurgence.
Yeah,
at the
aging
moment.
like wine.
Yeah,
I mean,
Joe Joyce was a fight that a lot of people didn't have him winning, and look what happened there. And then against Otto Wallin, and Otto Wallin in the past kind of caused Fury problems in that fight in Vegas. Obviously, he had that nasty cut there, but he did something to Wallin that not a lot of people have done, and we haven't seen him since that fight, I don't think. So, look, it makes for an interesting watch, but I do think it's quite a simple outcome.
Yeah, I sort of know what you mean.
That simple outcome is that I'll be very shocked if it goes past 6 rounds, because you can see it now. Boxing goes out the window for these two on Saturday night. It's who can land that one big shot first, and yeah.
Yeah, and Wilder's shown no sign of landing that shot in recent years.
No.
Also showed no sign of being able to withstand enough to put himself in a position to land that one shot either, which has been frustrating, I think. He undoubtedly, Chisora's floor is higher than Wilder's. The worst version of Chisora beats the worst version of Wilder. But we have seen in the past, obviously, the best version of Wilder. So it always comes down to, with Wilder these days, that big if, that huge if he can show some of those levels, if he can show an ounce of that hunger that he once had, then you can only imagine it still has to be you don't overnight forget how to punch, but there's something missing.
My worry for Wilder as well is because he's someone who wins fights in quite an aggressive way, and I think he needs to be very spiteful with his punches, these two have been very friendly in the build-up. And does that, has he got that mindset of being in there and really wanting to hurt Chisora? Or
I think so.
Is it going to be one of those nights where he's just like, I don't know if I've quite got it in me to lay my hands. Not that he's obviously going to want to win, but I think there is that fine difference sometimes between if you're fighting someone in front of you that you have got a close affinity with compared to someone if you're looking at him and thinking, I want to rip his head off, I want to make sure I finish him off. Like,
yeah, it goes back to that old thing of, you know, it's hard to get up out of bed in camp and you know, put your absolute all in when you're waking up every morning in silk sheets. You know, he's had that. He's done what he intended to do from boxing, and he's lived, you know, he has a situation now where he's probably, you'd imagine, pretty comfortable because of it. And then that hunger goes, and then you're content, and you're no longer angry. You're no longer, you know, no longer have that fire burning in you to keep going. And technically, like, for how much he's achieved in his career, he is relatively limited. Relatively, you know, we've watched him drop Euro steps before, you know, right hands. He's not technically all that great, but he just always had that shot. And when it connected, it was good night. It was lights out. And I just don't know if he's got that anymore.
Do you think Wilder's taken this fight simply because of the money on offer? Or do you think he's taking this fight because he thinks I can bring back the Wilder of old? And, you know,
I think the money on offer. I think for both of these guys, but I think Chisora's still got a bit. You know, he's still got a little bit. He can rough you up a bit. He's still got a decent engine. You know, he can still do the stuff, and I think he sees it as, you know, this. I can walk over Wilder a little bit and bully him a little bit, and we'll see if that's true or not. I think, you know, from us, we probably imagine it will be. But
if Chisora is to win. And look, it should be his last fight. But if he wins via a nasty sort of stoppage that, you know, the O2 erupts and everyone's talking about it, does he roll the dice and go again and, you know, and fights? I don't know.
Well, was it not that
the Otto Wallin fight was the last dance they advertised it as? But when you get to 49, you're thinking, oh, come on, let's get the 50 fight.
But was it not the Wallin fight that was supposedly like an IBF final eliminator or something? That it was weirdly billed as, but not really. Yeah, eliminator, IBF World Heavyweight final eliminator, or an eliminator for the IBF World Heavyweight title. So again, with another fight against Wilder, who I imagine will hold some rankings still with some of the, like, he'll be somewhere in the picture. A win there, and he might well be in line for a world title fight. And you think at that point, do you roll the dice again?
Is it a waste of time, though?
I think it's a waste of time. I think you finish on 50, finish happy, finish with legacy.
Yeah. Get the bat and raise it and do a circle in the ring. Yeah. It should make for an interesting watch, because I think the sort of desperation on their faces is going to be quite evident. Of both of them know that to win the fight, you know, the boxing skills are probably not going to be to a high level. They're both going to be looking for that one shot. That's easy to read in this fight. I think it's just going to be a matter of time before whoever lands it. And if Wilder hits him with his best shot, Chisora, how does Chisora react? Does he go straight down, or does he, you know, eat it up? And then what does Wilder do then? Because if you look at Wilder's career, and Ben touched upon it with like the Fury legacy, you know, Fury was made to look very good against Wilder because Wilder got found out. So if Wilder doesn't have that sort of one big shot, and if Chisora can take that, it could be a very, very long evening on Saturday night for Wilder.
I think it's going to be a bit of a slugfest on Saturday. I think it'll be whoever connects first who will probably win the fight.
It's not going to be the most technical. It's not going to be the most... No. You know, it's not going to be a Bivol better Biev. It's not going to be this kind of high level fight. But, you know,
it's going to be exciting for as long as it lasts.
Yeah, it's entertaining to watch.
It could end up being like Joe Joyce against Chisora, though. Sort of the ending where it's like, oh my God, both of them are out on their feet and they're just swinging.
And with that, to be fair to them, it's a pretty good card. Like, you know, we've seen cards in the UK certainly a lot worse than this one. Viddal Riley, Mateusz Masternak, I think, is a really interesting fight for the EBU European. Viddal Riley just taking that one more step towards, you know, a world title fight that he's, you know, talked about for a little while. Masternak's obviously fought for a world title, 50-6, I want to say his record is. Lost to Billam-Smith for that world title. So it's a good fight, I think, for Viddal Riley. It makes a lot of sense, but it is one you should see him winning, right?
Yeah, I think it sets up really, if he can win and win well, it sets up very nicely for Chris Billam-Smith as well. Obviously, a former opponent of Masternak. Was that the first time he won a world title, Billam-Smith, against Masternak?
Yes, it was. Yeah, even the
didn't he beat Lawrence Okolie for? He beat Okolie for the world title, didn't he? At the Vitality, wasn't it? And then he fought Masternak at the international arena.
I'll double check, but I didn't think that the Okolie was
the thing. For Viddal Riley,
first time Masternak.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, Okolie was WBO. Yeah, and that was
so Masternak was the defense, was it?
First defense or second?
It was first defense. Yeah, and then
I
second
can remember
defense was
Masternak being
Riakporhe.
quite the tricky opponent that night.
Yeah, he caused him a lot, and then he caused him a lot of problems. Then he broke his rib.
Yeah.
Billam-Smith broke Masternak's rib, and then the fight ended. But
I expect Viddal Riley to make comfortable work of this on the weekend. I think he'll win by a wide points decision in the end, and he'll be looking forward and setting up. I think he's on that sort of fringe, looking at world title level opponents now. Someone like Chris Billam-Smith, I think, would be a good next step. Them two having especially if a world title opens up somewhere, a vacant world title. I'm not sure what the.
Yeah, you've got Mikkel Jan, which is the WBC, and then you've got Ramirez has the WBO, WBA.
He's fighting Benavidez at the beginning of May.
And he's fighting Benavidez. But yeah, I think the question for me, how good is Billam-Smith? It's quite hard to Viddal Riley. It's quite hard to suggest he's anything other than world level. But then you wouldn't necessarily say, if you put him in there with someone like Jai Opetaia, who obviously just lost his IBF, so maybe there's room there for Viddal. And I think Billam-Smith holds some really good rankings with the IBF still. So I think maybe if you looked at Viddal Riley versus Billam-Smith for the IBF, that's a great fight to watch. But how good is Viddal Riley? Like, where did you see him? Is he at that world level now?
I think he wins a world title. He beats Billam-Smith, I think.
But then Ramirez and Jai Opetaia are just that little kind of...
It's a bit like the heavyweight division, isn't it?
Top level
I
heavyweight
think Viddal
champions.
Riley would do better against Ramirez or Opetaia than Billam-Smith would.
Yes, I agree, yeah. But probably not enough.
I think for Viddal Riley...
I think he's capable of beating Ramirez.
Yeah, he's more beatable, I think.
For Viddal Riley, though, I think he obviously hasn't fought since last April. For me now, this year is all about if he gets through Masternak and...
Was his last fight the Chev Clark fight?
Yeah, Tottenham. On the...
Very good.
How did you forget?
I thought he'd fought since. But
No, he might have been injured or something. But that's the thing, though, with Viddal Riley now. This year, if the world titles don't become open and if Jai Opetaia doesn't move up to heavyweight, which a lot of people are expecting...
He's lost the IBF, Jai Opetaia.
I know, but what I'm saying
He's got no world titles because the Zuffer one don't count.
You've upset some people.
Yeah.
Fine by me. Fine by me.
No, because of that happening there, then that sets up an opportunity then. But I think he needs to get active, and if he wins quite clearly and doesn't have a sort of 10-round or 12-round war on Saturday night, then get him out quickly, because you cannot beat activity.
It's a difficult weight division as well, though. I think there's not many options out there.
I think Viddal Riley doesn't get drawn into a war. I don't think I'm not saying he couldn't win a war.
You expected that with Lawal, but that didn't happen.
He's too smart, I think. He's too measured. He's too technical. I don't think the way he fights, the pace he fights, the way he takes control of the pace of the fight, would necessarily allow for him to be drawn into a war. And I think, that's why I think you say someone like Ramirez, I think probably suits Viddal Riley slightly more, because in that he would try and slow Ramirez down a bit and fight at his pace, and Ramirez constantly go, and you can pick people off that way. Whereas Jai Opetaia at any pace, you worry if that one shot lands, whether or not you're still going to be standing. So
does he go to America for that Benavidez fight?
Ramirez has got Benavidez, so I don't think that happens anytime soon. And I think
it depends on what happens.
I think Billam-Smith for the IBF. I think Billam-Smith is clearly waiting for another good opportunity. He also fought on the same night as Viddal Riley as his last fight. Yeah. So when you look at that,
been tied up with boxer as well.
Yeah, I think you look at
issues there.
A nice IBF world title fight in the UK. That'd be great. It's a shame that it's not happening in Tottenham Hotspur on an undercard, you know, that we've got obviously with Fury Makhmedov. If you couldn't have kind of skipped it forward one, but Jai Opetaia was still a world champion at that point.
Still
that's a really good headliner for Misfits if they're going all in on the pro cards. If they got Viddal Riley in a world title fight against someone like Chris Billam-Smith, that's perfect main event for them.
What's your thoughts on Misfits Pro being still called, having Misfits in the name?
It doesn't really bother me.
No?
It's a name.
It's not different to like having something like Wasserman or something.
Yeah, it's just same thing, different name.
But people can... When you talk about Misfits...
I've got respect for these fights because they're
good fights. I mean,
but what I mean is when you hear the word Misfits, you go, it's YouTubers.
But I think Misfits Pro, they're happy to change that narrative. I think it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, I think it got to the point where obviously Wasserman were doing a lot of Misfits and always have done a lot of Misfits promotional stuff for them or with them under the Misfits banner, but actually it got to the point where Misfits was probably a bigger name than Wasserman. I mean, obviously Wasserman's a huge agency in terms of all of sport, but in terms of boxing, I think Misfits, people probably would have said are a bigger promotional company.
There's crossover there as well, because Tom Welland is fighting on the
show. So they've clearly just kind of sort of taken it over a little bit and combined the two.
And Conlon's fight Misfits as well.
Misfits Pro, and you got Denzel Bentley fighting for a WBO interim on this one, which is a bigger fight than I think Wasserman have probably ever done themselves. So I think that combination has made a lot of sense. And if you're getting world title fights like that for Denzel Bentley, with Janibek being stripped, I believe, of the WBO, so he will almost certainly either with one fight or naturally become the WBO champion.
It's good to see Denzel Bentley back out as well, you know.
He hasn't been out, has he, since December? It would have been December 25 against Brad Pauls, if I'm not mistaken.
Instead of commentating on fights now, he's actually in there, so that's good. I don't know with the Misfits Pro, because like you got this fight on Saturday night, Chisora Wilder, and then all of a sudden they've announced Tommy Fury, Eddie Hall, is it?
Yes.
Like I don't see the sort of they're both similar in the way of they got the same name and people are going to compare.
Nah, I don't think so.
I think you can differentiate the pro to the clown show.
In the same way as we're seeing Usyk Verhoeven, which obviously I know Usyk comes with his own sort of thing, but that is in itself a crossover boxing event of a circus fight, however you want to call it, and that's being fought on a Ring Magazine card, which is under the same
boxing.
It's got the same thing. I think Mayweather Pacquiao has been now made an exhibition fight.
No longer a pro
fight, if I'm not mistaken. I think I saw that recently. But we're seeing it more and more. I don't care what the promotional company's called.
So long as they're putting on fights.
If they're delivering good fights like these are, like those three and the others on the card, then yeah, I'm happy.
It is just funny though that Derek Chisora's last fight and these guys are now fighting competitive fights on a Misfits card.
But in the same vein, you've got this weekend as well on Sunday. You've got MVP, who previously have been,
good point,
home of some of the biggest clown shows we've ever seen. Mike Tyson in the Arlington, Texas, I think it was, with Jake Paul is probably the worst crime we've seen to boxing in recent years. Jake Paul versus
Ben Askren,
Joshua, Askren, Nate Robinson.
I keep forgetting that Jake Paul fought Anthony Joshua.
All of these mental things that we've seen on the MVP platform, and then on the flip side of it, you've got what is probably fair to say one of the best cards, if not the absolute best card that women's boxing has ever seen, and deservingly so. I think boxing and the female divisions have been in a great place for the last couple of years. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, first ones to break that glass ceiling of $1 million paydays for women's boxing.
Madison Square Gardens as well.
Yeah. It was meant to. I think that was meant to happen years ago with Chrissy Martin. I want to say was meant to be paid, and then the fight got called off, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, they've finally broken that, and that was thanks to MVP. And then you've got this. Caroline Dubois, Terri Harper is probably one of the best fights you can make in any division in boxing. I think for me, I think that really well matched skill, power, aggression from Dubois, skill, experience from Terri Harper. It makes for an interesting 50-50.
Yeah, it's reaching a real boiling point as well now with the back and forth they've had in the build-up. But Dubois, unlike her brother, in all fairness, is a very good talker and can sell a fight very well. And yeah, she's almost playing a sort of villain role going into this and has been very sort of spiteful with her words, and I think this is got the potential to really go off, and I'm glad it's on the Sunday as well, so it's not, obviously we've got a nice full weekend of boxing this weekend, but it's nice to just have its own platform stand out. And that as a main event, I think is going to be a really, really good watch. I can't wait to watch it.
Can I just say as well, I love that from Dubois. I know some people have been getting up in arms about it and going, you know, oh, who does she think is? It's bizarre. That's boxing. Like, that's what you do. You talk your stuff and then you back it up in the ring, or you talk your stuff and you're not able to back it up, and we all laugh at you. It's both ends of the spectrum. She's opened herself up for the criticism if she loses, but to this point, every single time she's backed it up. So
it seems like a different Dubois as well this time around, doesn't it? With the sort of MVP banner now, it seems like she's coming out of her shell and she's a bit more confident. And it's mental to think that on a podcast, I don't know, a couple months back or even over a year ago, that I said that Terri Harper is finished and all that. And
that might have to be, in retrospect, one of the worst takes.
One of the worst
on the channel, because it was pre.
No. The worst one that I've had has been misquoted with Josh Padley being a future world champion.
Was it pre-Rhiannon Dixon when you made that claim? And
it was when she
was the Rhiannon Dixon fight.
And you'd said, because in the previous fight, the fight had been retired on the stool, and you sort of suggested she might do the same again, and that she didn't think. And Rhiannon Dixon was on a real steep upwards trajectory, and it seemed like nothing was going to stop her. But
look what happened.
Yeah, Terri Harper turned up.
Look what happened, and look what's happening now. So yeah, I've ate my. What does Simon Jordan say? I'm going to eat. I ate. Oh, what was it?
Humble pie.
Humble pie, or he said like crow or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what the saying is, but so I definitely had that, and no, it's great to see her sort of still up there in a sense. And I think a lot of people forget her age as well, Terri Harper, because she's only 29.
Yeah, she's definitely not out of this fight.
Nah, not at all.
It's a close fight, and we seen Dubois Barnes up in Barnsley. You saw her on the last all-female card. You know, it makes for an interesting
That was a brilliant fight as well, by the way.
Is that the Raimi Shin? Yeah. I think she's stepping with Alicia Baumgartner, isn't she? Which is set to be coming up, which will be another great fight.
I want to see Turhan and Bomi Ration, to be honest.
Yeah. That would be good.
In Turkey or something like that. That'd be quite cool.
Every time I can't help, because we made the Bo Mi Ray chin joke when we came. Every time in my head, that's what pops into my head, because she had an unbelievable chin on the night she took a battering. And, you know, I think Terri Harper will have to show some toughness.
She has to be at her best.
She'll have to show
both of them have to.
Yeah.
Both of them have to be at their best.
If Dubois is not at her best and she expects this to be a walkover, then she'll have another thing coming for her. You know, Terri Harper's losses on her record, when you look at them, I think Sandy Ryan and Baumgartner herself, it might actually be top operators, and she's done it across 3 or 4 different weight categories. She will be no pushover, and will believe that she can win this fight. And if you're not at your best, then it's going to be a long night. On the flip side of that, the very best of Caroline Dubois, I think, is a problem for almost everyone in boxing. She's so powerful. So which way it'll go, what the outcome will be, I don't know. And that's obviously why it's a good fight. But either way, I'm looking forward to it. And it's the kind of fight we need for women's boxing. I love that it seems so easy to make the best fights, and MVP seem to be doing it on a consistent basis. I think that's great.
And it's back on Sky. We've actually got boxing back on Sky Sports.
True.
So Andy Clark commentating. So get up.
Very true.
I'm trying to think. Ellie Scotney's on you.
Yeah. Ellie Scotney looking to go undisputed, I believe.
Fighters from the UK.
Yeah.
Did you see her? So then she was chatting to Jake as well. Jake Paul in the gym. She was saying how she I think she still gets the training and stuff. It takes her ages to get to training and stuff, and she's going for undisputed.
Mental.
And she was saying how, like, I think she was saying like 3 or 4 weeks out from the fight, she lets herself start taking Ubers. So it's like, you know, and I think it's amazing. I mean, another one that you would have to say, the rise has been meteoric.
I'm sure he said this week, if she wins, that he'll buy her a car.
She hasn't learned how to drive, so it's all well and good buying her a car, but you can't legally drive it.
You can do one of those courses, can't you? Pass within a week.
Crash
course. Oh, the 5-day,
the 5-day course thing, yeah.
All the belts in the back.
Emma Dolan going for a world title as well, you know?
Yeah.
Another fighter that doesn't get the respect I think that she deserves, because what was it, Chloe Watson? She fought on a Matchroom card once.
No, it was Shannon Ryan.
Shannon Ryan, yes,
it was.
correct.
And
sorry.
I think it was after that Shannon Ryan fight. I remember that was a while back, 2024, maybe even 2023. It was a while back, and I remember being really impressed. And it's not had a huge amount of fights, not had a huge amount of activity since. It was but this is a great opportunity. I really like Emma Dolan. I think she's a quality fighter. It's going to be a difficult fight against Mexican versus British. As a British fighter or a British fight fan, you always think, oh God, when you see a Mexican fighter, because they just...
In recent history as well.
It's never gone great. So, but I think, Emma Dolan's absolutely got the business. And Chantelle Cameron back on a winning run.
Good to see her back.
That sets up Katie Taylor.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day, because obviously I think Katie Taylor's talked about all sorts of names. I think she threw... Ronda Rousey out there, didn't she, as an opponent, and she's fighting on an MVP
all MMA
card soon, and that's mental. You've got someone like Holly Holm, I think she's called out, that's been in the boxing space for years. I think between those two,
I think they would have done that if Holly Holm had won that.
And she's got a rematch, so maybe there's a room for it. But
Lauren Price is there as well, obviously.
I still think, for me, as a fan and as someone who loves Katie Taylor and think she's brilliant, I think the Chantelle Cameron fight for me is the best fight. If she can,
would that be a trilogy as well?
It would be, and if she can wipe that blot, it's one each, like you say. If you can wipe that single blot from Chantelle Cameron beating her and say, I've beat you twice. Yes, I had an off night, but now I've done it. I've gone away and beat Serrano twice, and then I came back and did it again. Or if you lose to Chantelle Cameron in that fight, I don't think it matters. I don't think it changes how you look at Katie Taylor in terms of what she's done for boxing, full stop, regardless of female boxing. So, I still think for me that's the fight I want to see. But
at Croke Park, end of her career.
Yeah.
It depends on where the mindset is, whether it's one last fight for legacy or whether it's get as much money as you can.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Payday.
It's difficult. And realistically, I think regardless, it will be if it is a goodbye, which it looks likely to be, it'll be a great goodbye to have
100%.
The last one there in Croke Park. But Chantelle Cameron's got a good fight as well for the WBO vacant. So she's going to have another world title around her waist, another one that's done it multiple weights, multiple times against multiple opponents. Really impressive.
It's just a stacked undercard, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think that's what
Elizabeth
MVP...
Shoulder as well, first chance on
friend
MVP finally.
About time, I think, is what we need to say there.
Yes, there's been all sorts of issues, as far as I'm aware, regarding sort of getting into the America for fights and stuff. Less said about that's the better. But I spoke to Elizabeth before. It would have been
for that fight.
It would have been for her last fight in America that was meant to happen for a piece of uni work, and she's hungry. She's
been over
so
a year
talented, and it's been so long since she picked up that WBC silver.
Gloucester.
It's been so long since that WBC silver she picked up, which would have been 2023, like mid 2023. She picked that up
because she was one of the first people.
One of the first people on the channel, and to see her journey, it's been a rocky one. It's not been as straight a line as maybe we'd hoped. I remember saying this to one of the boys in the house ages ago, before I lived with them. I said to them, Elizabeth Ashoba is the one that I think will be the first fighter to win a world title that we knew. She's going to be the first one. And it's not worked out that way because of like we said, some difficulties, but I still think she's absolutely good enough to go on and pick up a world title and kick on. And MVP's the place to do it.
It's exactly. MVPs. If you're a women's boxer now, you're aspiring to be signed by Jake Paul and Nikisa and fighting on MVP cards. And I think it's good in a way that, MVP have come over to the UK. I want to say this might be their first show in the UK.
Yeah, so, I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it's not the last, and they can keep building. And listen, there's a lot of competition out there at the moment, but no one's doing it like MVP are doing it in the female division.
No,
and I think some promoters can take note of it, because if they don't, I think MVP could be, dominating women's boxing for years to come, because I'm not being funny, there's more fighters signed to MVP than not. So
yeah. And I think, sometimes when a promotional company has a sort of monopoly on the market and no pressure, you see them under-deliver and there's just sort of no one to really question it. But at the moment, they've, if anything, probably over-delivered on that. So fair play to them. long may it continue, hopefully.
Especially for Elizabeth as well. Get through this and, hopefully...
Friday night as well. Matchroom are delivering us. It's not the heady heights of some of the other cards we've seen. It doesn't stack up, but Pat Brown is another one taking another step up. Really exciting to see. Will Troller on the comeback trail, and the two Croft twins are sort of the notable ones.
Pat Brown is a bit like a timer in a way of you can see the future now, and it is really bright for him, I think. And for Brown, he's a cruiserweight, yes. But I think for the longer term in his boxing pro career, he's going to make that jump up.
I would agree.
Into the heavyweights and, maybe dominate there. I don't know. But at the moment, he's a cruiserweight. He's fighting again on Friday night, main eventing. How many times have we said this about sort of your first pro fight is a main event in your home, where you're from and all that. And you got the backing of Eddie Hearn and, you expect him to get the job done quite easily on Friday night.
I think this fight's a good one to see where his level sort of sits at the moment as well. His opponent on Friday, someone that took Chev Clark the distance over 10 rounds, I think. So, Chev Clark is probably, he's definitely, Chev Clark's British title level, he's just come up against people, he's fought for a European belt as well. Obviously, come and stuck out in Monaco and then went for a British title fight against Viddal Riley, who is well above British title level. So he's well and truly within British title level territory, so seeing how Pat Brown deals with this challenge on Friday would be interesting, I think.
Yeah, it's weird. I remember when he made his debut and he I think again, he's pretty much every fight he's had, first or second round, he smashed them all out there. And I remember just kind of putting the handbrake on a bit and thinking, I don't know how good this guy's going to be. And then it was probably around the Lewis Oakford fight, I sort of was like, okay, that's the kind of opponent you don't really smash out of there in one. And obviously he did in his last performance as well. I think he looked really good. So undeniably powerful, undeniably spiteful, talented. I think to suggest that beyond the cruiserweight division, I agree he's got a future in heavyweight division. Yeah, whether or not he'll go and I think that's a different kettle of fish. I don't know if he goes and really impresses or dominates at the heavyweight division, but I think the world is his oyster, really. I think at the cruiserweight division, he's shown he will cause problems for a lot of people. There's lots of great fights out there. I think Alois Yumbi would be a really intriguing fight. Chev Clark, if you can get a British title on the line for that.
British title fight between them two would be good.
Yeah, no, I would love that.
He's there. I don't think he needs to keep on taking fights that, you probably can say, he's going to win. Perhaps roll the dice in his next fight and see where he's at.
Yeah, or do you go in with somebody who's seen a lot and been in there with a lot first? I'm thinking someone sort of like Ellis Sorrow that's been around.
But the thing is with Ellis Sorrow, will he just turn up, as he's openly admitted in the past, to just turning up for, the paycheck? That's what you don't want.
Yeah.
You don't want a fighter just turning up to get paid. You want to fight
someone to try and give him rounds, but when you've got as much power and
do you reckon,
as spiteful as Pat Brown is, it's difficult.
Past John Hedges. Is John Hedges below
That'd be a good fight.
Yeah.
It would be a really good fight. Obviously, he beat Zorro, so from that, and he's beaten Nathan Corliss as well. He's had some good wins on the record now.
Hedges is English champion, is he?
If he wants to go go that traditional route, then
I don't know. It seems like they're going a different route because he's got really strong rankings on the world level now. I believe. I think I forget which governing body it's with. I want to say maybe the WBA. He holds one of it's IBF.
Yeah.
This is for the Intercontinental. So a win in this one, and we just obviously mentioned with Chris Billam-Smith and with Jaya Pataya having vacated it, no longer being a world champion, that there's roots there via the IBF.
Yeah.
The IBF, like I said, don't have a number one ranked. If you pick up an Intercontinental, you start finding yourself up those divisions. They might not be the classic route because of the Olympic pedigree he's had. Maybe you kind of fast forward him a little bit and try and find him a big fight sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I think, looking at the undercard as well, Johan Croft and Garen Croft, good luck. If you've never seen them before in box, good luck trying to name them because they are identical twins and it is mental how identical they are. It's good to see that they've been signed by Matchroom.
Yes.
We've seen them quite a lot. You've probably seen him more than me in action, but when I've seen him, I think it was at the galleries. Johan had a fantastic following, and Garen at the Vale as well. That's St. David's card.
Yeah, that was really great.
If you're looking at prospects in Welsh boxing at the moment, they've sort of been quietly doing their bit of like developing and learning, and then Johan's fighting his first 8-rounder on Friday night, and Garen's also fighting a 6-rounder on there. It's good to see that they've been given an opportunity now, and hopefully they can take it. And
I believe they're both doing 8 now.
Are they? Okay.
I believe so, yeah.
So fingers crossed this can be sort of the moment where they can get it. And I'm not being funny, them two, with Taylor Bevan, Joe Cordina, there's the arena that we can see through a window over there, the Utilita. It makes perfect sense, and you don't have to worry about ticket sales with Empire as well. So
no, they always felt watching them, both ability and sort of hype and following wise, they never felt like they belonged on Small Hall. Yeah. I remember watching them and thinking, you lot are too good for this, or you lot are, and not even just too good, because I think that's disrespectful to some of the fighters that are on there, but just the way they went about their business, very efficient, very professional.
Well, they were main events all the time,
and the support that they had, you just felt it was only a matter of time before somebody thought, yeah, these two guys have got something. And I'm glad it's Matchroom, because I think, obviously we've seen with so many fighters, it's a good place to be as a prospect. You'll get tested, you'll get the right opportunities, you'll get consistent fights. I'm really happy for them. I think this is a really good step in their career. And like you say, if we can get Cordina, we've always said with Cordina, the problem was he was with Matchroom and there was no one else there with him. Now you've got Cordina, Bevan, the Croft twins. I don't believe Gavin Gwyn's tied up contractually in the same way as he was previously.
He's fighting on the Dubois Wardley card, but he hasn't got, I don't think he's got a promotion.
There's plenty out there to be had here in Wales.
Get it done.
I'm surprised it's taken this long for someone to snap them up. They look brilliant.
You would have thought from their pro debuts, from the amateur background that they had.
Both Commonwealth medalists.
And not being funny, they're so easy to promote as well.
I think those fights up in, I think it was Waterford in Ireland, wasn't it? Lasted seconds. I mean, it was just like...
Did you see the one bloke though? It was expected probably.
It was laughable, but they're so good. So lots of great stuff. Should we tick off quickly some predictions before we tap up? I don't think we're not using...
There's no boxing news
the old
anymore.
means. Deontay Wilder, Derek Chisora. You, Harry, have kind of put your neck on the line.
Chisora stops him, I think. Yeah.
Ben?
I'm going Chisora stoppage as well.
I'll be very shocked if Chisora doesn't stop him.
I think it is the obvious decision, because he hasn't shown any sign recently, Wilder, of going the distance with anyone. Mm-hmm. Just struggles a little bit.
Doesn't turn his back like he did with Zhang and officially stopped.
And then beyond that, you've got the Caroline Dubois, Terri Harper as well. That's a really tough one to call, I think.
Dubois stoppage.
Do you think? Guaranteed?
I think she's going to be very spiteful. I think
I'm leaning
the bit of
towards...
needle between the two of them is going to make it quite open.
Do I go against Harper again though?
Yeah, that's a big risk after last time.
I've never.
I'm leaning towards a points decision victory for Dubois.
Yeah,
I think either way, I think this has got rounds in it. I think it's going to be reasonably close. My heart is saying Terri Harper. My Yorkshire pride is saying Terri Harper, but my head is saying Caroline Dubois.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close though. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a split or something.
I think most of the other fights you'd say are reasonable. You'd hope Ellie Scotney, Emma Dolan, Chantelle Cameron, etc. all pick up wins in their ones. Again, you'd hope that Viddal Riley, Denzel Bentley all pick up wins. Are we fairly unanimous on that?
Yeah, I think
the Denzel Bentley might be in a tough fight. I think that could be
maybe
a sort of 50-25,
Where's the other 25 coming from?
Forget that.
Well, I know what you mean. Well, if you guys like this, obviously let us know what you guys...
75-25.
There we go.
75-25. God.
We'll do a maths
lesson.
Do
you know that we've missed something though? We haven't talked about... Obviously, we're bringing content this week, but the show over there in the Utilita Saturday night.
Yeah, it's a good card. Boxer's best card. We will go into it because we're going to...
phenomenal.
Yeah.
It
feels like with the matchmaking on the Boxer card, it feels like they've... It's almost like they've got a new matchmaker because the cards are so great. But I don't know who it is. I don't know if you guys know who it is.
The
Any
Welsh
ideas?
fighters' knowledge is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Must have been watching the channel, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, sort of promoter Ben. Yeah, lots of great stuff on there. I like. It's. I forgot to mention the matchmaking on that one because it's a really great card. Lots of great fights for a Welsh audience. But like I said, we're bringing you guys the
Well done,
feedback
Boxer.
for that one. So yeah, well done, Boxer, Ben Shalom. Well done, Ben Shalom, for that one. If you guys like the sound of all of that, obviously stick around for the content this coming week. You'll be probably seeing, as this comes out, you'll probably see some of it already. Lots of great stuff to come out on the channel. So I think that is pretty much everything. It's been a busy week. I'm just trying to remember, go through my head, everything. We've ticked everything off. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.
Punches chance. Punches chance podcast.